Emmanuel Hostin, the husband of The View host Sunny Hostin, has been accused of widespread insurance fraud, and Sunny basically admitted to it on camera. Let's talk about it.
Like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all.
Sunny Hostin just stepped into a legal nightmare, and Gutfeld and Timpf are having a field day. While her husband's $450 million fraud scandal spirals, the Fox duo is tearing her apart like it's open mic night at a courtroom roast. Gutfeld's digs are savage, Timpf's sarcasm's nuclear, and the punchlines, richer than the rumored offshore accounts. This isn't commentary, it's a public execution in punchlines. And trust me, what they just said could make a defense attorney sweat.
And I just want to hit myself in the face so I can feel something. You know, it's like so boring. He's like, yeah, I like Instacart, but don't worry, I tip the poors. But, you know, Joy, you actually don't like Instacart, and you do like the store. And then Joy is like, yeah, I do. I like to go to the store. I like to walk around and see what's at the store, what I do want, what I don't want. Maybe I want tuna fish, and I just want to hit my...
Sunny Hostin probably sipped her morning coffee thinking it was just another day to sermonize on The View. All smug glances and sanctimonious sound bites. You know the drill. Moral superiority on tap, side-eye for the peasants, and a scolding session disguised as daytime TV. But then, boom. The universe served her a karmic subpoena with a side of public humiliation. While she was busy preaching justice and ethics like she owned the patent, the real courtroom bombshell dropped. Her husband's now tangled in a fraud scandal so massive, it makes Bernie Madoff look like a kid caught cheating at Monopoly. The irony? Absolutely brutal. The timing? Surgical. The downfall? Just getting started.
Ah, you look tantalizing. You know, I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered.
3 years, that's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable.
Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow.
Greg and Kat, they went full savage mode. Gutfeld carved up the scandal like a steak of smug hypocrisy, juicy, rare, and served flaming. This wasn't a segment, it was a demolition. Kat saw the headline and laughed like she'd been waiting years for this moment. Receipts in hand, revenge in style.
It's about The View. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Here, let's look at this political oddity. You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest scum.
This wasn't a headline to Kat. It was poetic justice in Louboutin. She watched Sunny's moral glow evaporate under the spotlight, revealing the shiny tiara of double standards underneath. Let's be real. If Hypocrisy had a logo, The View would slap it on merch. And Sunny, she's been their star ambassador. You can't preach from your ethical throne 5 days a week and then vanish when your own home starts looking like a deleted scene from a financial crime docuseries. That's not virtue. That's stagecraft.
All right, Kat, did you ever see such a group? It's amazing how Joy and Whoopi became the smart ones.
For me, the most shocking thing about the conversation was how truly boring it was. They're like, well, the cicadas, they're cicadas. Okay, but it was like every 100 years. No, it's every 17 years. Do you know how many Emmys this show has? 31.
31 Emmys.
This show has 31. I mean, I'd hate to see the conversations that don't make headlines.
This wasn't just a plot twist. It was a karmic screenplay with punchlines ghostwritten by Gutfeld's team. The irony? Immaculate. Greg quipped that Sunny should launch a new segment called Allegedly Yours, where she dishes moral takes while artfully dodging subpoenas like confetti. Kat didn't miss a beat, deadpanning that The View finally had a plot worth watching. And not by accident. If laughter's the cure, Greg and Kat just overdosed America on comedy after years of moral migraines from daytime TV. But they didn't just laugh. They disassembled the entire shrine of self-righteousness that The View calls a set. And when that sanctimony shelf cracked under its own fake virtue, Greg and Kat didn't blink. They raised a toast to its fall. Greg didn't stop at jokes. He built a sarcasm water slide and invited the nation to take a ride through the wreckage of Sunny's credibility. His irony hit harder than facts, reminding everyone that Sunny's sermons made Sunday Mass look like viral memes in comparison.
The witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
They said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar.
Sunny's moral brand, going down faster than a View host winging econ without a script. Gutfeld strutted through the scandal like a cat who broke the vase and blamed the dog. Cat? She was thriving. That signature smirk said it all. This is going to be delicious. Her loathing for The View is so potent, it should file taxes. She even mocked their signature tone, part gossip, part gavel, pitching a new segment, Financial Crimes and Finger Wagging, a guide to hypocrisy in heels.
No, I'm also not surprised that there's one part of the video from the show yesterday that you left out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can we roll that, please?
I don't watch the show that much, but I've seen enough.
Who is that?
Greg Gutfeld's one of the hosts of The Five, who, if I don't have anything nice to say, I generally don't say anything at all. I would just say this, his show should be called Kat Timpf, not Gutfeld, because she's the funny one on it.
Somebody's flirting with little Kat over here.
Well, she's the Republican one at the table, but I just think as a libertarian, I'm always looking to find common ground with other people because nobody really shares my politics. So I find some common ground in The View where she thinks I'm funny and I agree.
Greg, never one to miss a moment, joked that Sunny's next segment should come with a spinning game show wheel. Fraud, privilege, or selective outrage. Spin to see what we're pretending doesn't exist today. Behind the scenes, total meltdown. Think soap opera chaos meets budget crisis management. Cue cards in flames, teleprompters short-circuiting from moral whiplash, producers whispering, quick, someone mention Meghan Markle. Anything to dodge the $450 million tap dancing scandal smashing through their glass castle of virtue. And the co-hosts? Suddenly silent. These are the same folks who can detect a Republican jaywalker from another continent. But now it's all respect her privacy, and we're focusing on healing today. Translation, they lawyered up and locked down. Greg was giddy, like handing a flamethrower to a man juggling grenades. And Kat? She watched it all unfold like her favorite reality show just dropped its messiest episode, and even the fake ferns are threatening lawsuits.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
This wasn't just a Sunny Hostin meltdown. It was the entire media circus tripping over its own self-righteousness, face-planting into a pit of empty platitudes. As The View scrambled for damage control, Gutfeld and Kat hit the gas on their sarcasm engines like it was a race to see who could roast the most. When your show's entire brand is built on moral superiority, and one of its stars is dragged into a massive fraud scandal, you don't just lose credibility, you lose the moral compass entirely. In Sunny's case, it looks like her GPS rerouted straight to deflection lane with a scenic detour through Denial Junction. By now, Greg and Kat weren't just roasting a talk show, they were popping the bloated balloon of elite hypocrisy, relishing every wheeze of self-righteousness leaking out. And America? America had front row seats with popcorn, waiting for The View to figure out how to spin this without accidentally reinventing fiction. Greg didn't just laugh, he painted it as a masterclass in accidental self-parody. He called out their weekly sermon about how the right is a corrupt, evil empire, and then there's Sunny's fraud fairy tale turning into a courtroom reality show. Talk about a plot twist.
You know who just stunk up The View. The Bidens joined The View this morning for the entire hour. The audience was caught off guard, but knew something was up when they saw a dozen Secret Service agents and 2 embalmers. There were a few awkward moments, though, when a confused Joe asked if he could bid on the showcase.
And the best part? The scale of the fraud. This wasn't a slip-up. This was a number that'd make Wall Street execs smirk in approval. Kat, as sharp as ever, called out how The View barely touched their own co-host's scandal, yet they'd lose their minds over a conservative sneeze. No panel, no music, just a smooth shift to the next topic like a $450 million fraud was a blip. Imagine if it was anyone on the right. Meghan McCain would be burned at the stake on live TV. Greg, of course, had a field day, drawing comparisons like irony was sitting front row. And Kat? She pointed out Sunny's silence, no speeches, no calls for justice, just a quiet retreat into the shadows.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist, because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist.
Greg cranked the sarcasm to full throttle, turning the whole thing into performance art. A GoFundMe for legal fees? Too basic. No, Greg proposed a nationwide popcorn fund, because this scandal was pure gold, and the country deserved front row snacks while The View floundered. Just when you thought Greg couldn't go harder, he upped the ante. Forget TV or law. Sunny's next career move? A book deal on contradictions, because her hypocrisy had more twists than a thriller. And The View? A group hug and collective amnesia, pretending accountability doesn't exist. Kat, as always, reminded us of the last time they turned a minor conservative slip-up into a moral lecture for weeks.
Kat, how many co-hosts has The View had since it first started? I've lost count. I don't know any of these people.
No, that's because they don't stick around long enough. There have been 17 since 1997. That's a lot. That's because they're women.
Oh, really?
They're hormones. They're changing their minds. I don't want to work here. Yes, I do. That's why. Women are always changing jobs every day.
Wow,
I just quit.
Direct mail to Catherine Timpf. Not me. I disavow everything she said.
$450 million? Greg fired back. Let's pivot to Fashion Week. He even joked about renaming The View to The Skew for its ability to twist uncomfortable truths into eye rolls and softball questions. Greg then hit hard. Imagine if he or Kat were even remotely tied to a fraud case of that scale. They'd be canceled faster than Joy Behar forgets to let anyone finish a sentence. The double standard wasn't just showing, it was doing cartwheels down Broadway. This wasn't The View's first scandal, but this one. It took the cake, baked it with irony, and served it on a silver platter of schadenfreude. Greg and Kat didn't just eat it, they turned it into a 6-course roast, precision, not volume, showing the absurdity of a moral crusader caught in her own trap.
That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word sun in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years. They're turning on me. So that makes Sunny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
And the View? Oh, they just kept spinning in their little bubble, praying the storm would vanish. Spoiler, it won't. Not as long as Gutfeld and Timpf have mics in hand and sarcasm set to meltdown mode. Forget the scandal. The real story here is the sickeningly smug world of The View. This is a place where accountability is an afterthought, double standards get VIP treatment, and reality gets spun like it's on an endless news cycle. While Sunny's team is likely doing some deep breathing to keep their cool, the rest of us are just here to enjoy the comedy show. Greg and Kat, they didn't just expose the hypocrisy, they laughed in its face and served it back with enough spice to make the whole scandal feel like a primetime comedy. Only this time, the sitcom has a court date and a $450 million plot twist no one saw coming. When all is said and done, The View will try to act like nothing happened, like it was all just a bad dream. But thanks to Greg and Kat, this story is now etched in the annals of hypocrisy, boldly headlined Sunnyside Fraud. No matter how many layers of makeup, lighting, or spin they slap on it, the facts and the laughs are here to stay. And you better believe Greg and Kat will be right there when the next chapter drops.